course, watching Everybody's Business. Remember the big story we are breaking, exclusive UTVI voter survey, really asking the big question. What does India really feel about the much touted, much hyped 100-day agenda of the government and of each ministry? We have a caller. Go ahead, ask your question.
Well, I want to ask you one thing, is that the government in this budget has so much stress on the infrastructure spending. Like, I want to know that how will government will be focusing on this 100-day on the infrastructure side, because you're seeing the interest rates are not coming down, and even some of the banks are saying that it will be difficult to cut the lending and the deposit rates in near term. Now, the second thing is the bond yields are getting higher. So don't you think that the banks are losing money and the government is asking banks to finance more on the infrastructure side? So what do you think, that the infrastructure will go up, or is just the government is just hyping up that, you know, that we have to do something for the economy? That's why the most stress is on the infrastructure.
Okay, let's answer the question. We are, of course, asking this question in our following survey. The survey will go on. Let me tell our viewers, the survey on the 100-day agenda will continue now for almost a fortnight, where UTV will bring you really the big questions that has to be asked about the 100-day agenda, alongside, of course, C-Voter and Yashwant Deshmukh will be doing the surveys. Infrastructure is a question that we are yet to ask. But what, according to you, and we've done these infrastructure surveys before, what do you really think India is feeling? In 100 days, will infrastructure change?
You see, in 100 days, nothing really changes as far as the infrastructure is concerned.
Yeah.
But the big question is of intention. The intent.
Is the intent right?
Is the intent right? And so far, the government has only requested, you know, that you please cut down the rates, the rates. But are the banks listening? I don't really think so.
Correct.
So if the intent is right, if the government really pulls the right arm and says that, no, you got to do this, we have to do this, and something or the other moves, at least it comes into the public domain and public feels that, okay, we all know in 100 days you cannot have a golden quadrangle project completed, but somewhere the intention has to be seen in a correct manner.
My other big point to you, which you were coming to in the before we went into a break, was which is the weakest link? And you said rural India. Right. No matter which state you look at, rural India was the weakest link. Which was the strongest link then for the Congress government?
I believe the strongest link, ironically, again was the middle class. Right. Which we in the survey very categorically said that their life at the moment is hell because of the price rise. They are not unable to meet the ends, you know, because of the recession, because of the pay cuts and blah, 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 blah.
But they still have faith in the government.
They still have the faith in the government. So that still happens to be the strongest link. Rural India, we are still having problem. Ironically speaking, in all that monsoons, that's a big critical thing. So if the monsoons recover, if they get enough, just about enough rain, everybody will say rural India is happy. Thank you very much. Government would have got problem if the drought would have actually occurred. If it would have been there staring right at our face, then
that would have been a big crisis.
And then the problem is that then only the government would have woken up to the problem.
Right, right.
So let's not forget 80% of India, our Indian economy, still comes from that agrarian side, and there still doesn't seem to be any long visionary agenda as far as the agricultural sector is concerned.
The other big thing that I noticed in the survey, and it fascinated me, 52% saying that the 100-day agenda will lead to greater efficiency. However, 48% saying it will not lead to greater efficiency. There's a question mark in the efficiency.
A big number is in the don't know, can't says as well.
Right.
And it's a question mark. It's a big question mark. So everybody is waiting and watching. Okay, let's see. You have promised. Thank you very much. We like the 100-day agenda idea. We like the idea of accountability and audit at the regular interval. Everything all said and done. Let's wait for the 101st day.
Let's wait for, all right. Let's wait for the 101st day. Smita Patel is calling from Varanasi. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Yeah, I want to know, why is the education sector low in terms of priorities for the government in this budget?
The education, do you agree that the education sector is low on priority? Some interesting ideas from Kapil Sibal.
Some interesting ideas, but he has withdrawn them as quickly as he has said that he has gone mum on that. I believe there are some very contrasting ideas which the minister is proposing, which the public is not really open to that. Say, for example, the entry of the foreign universities.
That's right.
That's a big question mark.
Yes.
We all know, and probably most of the viewers, including me, are here because of our education, and our education supported by the government sector, not by the corporate sector. So there is a sense of insecurity when you talk about complete privatizational theory of educational sector.
Right.
So the government has not really done probably much in the education sector. In the retrospect, when you talk about Arjun Singh's tenure as a HRD minister, now even after so much of criticism, there are analysts who are saying that Arjun Singh's agenda was much better than this one for the longevity of the education.
Do you really believe so? You're saying basically Kapil Sibal has good ideas. However, will he be able to deliver on those ideas? You're saying political compulsions will prevent Kapil Sibal from delivering on those ideas?
I think so, because there are two different things. One is that I dream of this thing and this is the reality.
That's right.
You know, the political compulsion is the reality, and I have to find the middle way out where I take both the India and the Bharat.
That's right.
Into a hand in hand with the same account.
Right.
Kapil Sibal, will he be able to take India and the Bharat together?
Good
I know for
question,
sure
yes.
Kapil Sibal can handle India very well, but
That's right.
can he handle the Bharat very well?
Yes.
That's a big question mark.
But Kapil Sibal argues that the 88% or 80% of his entire focus is on the rural sector, is on building schools at the grassroots level. Is that an easy task? Because, you know, in Patna, look at what's happening. You know, teachers are refusing to give an entrance examination. And, you know, there's widespread riots in Patna. I mean, this absenteeism, this sloth is so ingrained in the system. Will that be easy to break?
Well, that 88% number, I don't really believe that number coming from any minister level on Kapil Sibal.
That's
because historically speaking, in the last 60 years, almost 80% of the budget actually goes into the rural. I mean, if you talk about that. So there is no big discovery over there. But there are center-state issues. There are issues of governance. There are issues of good governance. And we all know that even schemes like NREGA, I mean, leave aside education sector, when they are implemented well by the state governments, they do come up with good results.
That's right.
So same is happening with the education sector. There are states, we know Kerala is 100% illiterate, going by that agenda. So there are states like Kerala, and then there are states like Bihar.
All right, hold the thought for a moment. I'll go into a quick break. When I return, the big question the other big question of this survey, which ministry do most people in India believe will perform the best in the 100-day agenda race? Guess which ministry, which minister? We'll come back with the answer in just a bit. Here, of course, watching Everybody's Business. The big question we're asking, what does India really think about the 100-day agenda? The other big thing, and this is really interesting, that we found in our survey across 20 states, was which minister or ministry do most people believe will perform the best in the 100-day agenda race? The answer? The mercurial Mamta Banerjee and railways. Yashwant, that's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? I mean, not Kamal Nath, super efficient Kamal Nath, not Pranab Mukherjee, not Kapil Sibal,
Well,
Mamta Banerjee.
That was interesting. When I looked at it, I said, whoa. But then in retrospect, when I was trying to analyze why that has happened, and probably the answer lies in that if you talk about UPA 1.0,
right,
one of the most prolific ministers in the last 5 years was Lalu Yadav.
That's
and
right,
return around the railways. And what Mamta has done is she has outsmarted Lalu.
Okay.
You know.
That's right. We have a caller, Siddharth from Dehradun. Go ahead, Siddharth, ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, Hindol. This is Siddharth, and I'd like to ask whether the government is being over-ambitious with its 100-day agenda.
Is it being over-ambitious?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no, because I would not like to say yes, no, because we needed that kind of target setting.
Yeah,
and
inspirational
auditing.
targets.
Inspirational,
Yeah,
you know,
sure,
that we needed
sure.
that. And yes, because I believe they have bitten more than they can chew. Actually, they have promised much more what they can deliver, and that.
But it gives you a sense of ambition. It gives you a sense of scale.
Certainly, yes, and that's what target should be. You know, as we say, कि तोप मांगोगे तो बंदूक मिलेगी, one kind of thing.
Correct.
You set a bigger goal and then you try
reach
to
for the
achieve.
sky and you reach the trees.
Yes, you reach somewhere.
But the flip side of that, Yashwant, and I wanted to ask you, and I'm glad the caller asked you. The flip side of that is government should usually, in some cases, under-promise and over-deliver. Because if you consistently over-promise and under-deliver, it really sinks you at the end.
Well, I think that's what some smart chief ministers in this country are doing.
That's right.
If you look out for what
Naveen Patnaik, for instance.
Naveen Patnaik, for instance,
right.
even Narendra Modi, for instance.
That's right.
I mean,
Under-promise, over-deliver.
Whatever, yeah, underperform. Yeah, exactly. Under-promise and over-deliver.
That's right.
So every time,
which is the flip side of Mayawati, which is over-promise and deliver nothing.
Deliver nothing.
Right.
So I believe that when you compare the two,
Right.
then people like the people who are like the leaders who are under-promising and over-delivering.
That's right.
That's a good idea. And if they can match it, good. I'm happy for the country.
I want to come back before we end the show, and we're running out of time. Before we end the show, I want to come back to railways. Mamta, known to be mercurial, you're saying one of the big reasons that most people believe she'll be efficient is because not because so much who she is, but because of the ministry. In
Because
this
of the
one
ministry.
case, it's not so much the minister, but the ministry.
And it's not just ministries. In the verbal duel, even in the parliament, she outsmarted Lalu Yadav. So Lalu established as a good railway minister, and Mamta
might be better.
outsmarts. So that automatically gives you all the cherry points.
Right.
You know, she has taken all the cherry points from Lalu Yadav, and her kitty is full at the moment.
Okay, I want to ask you one last question. Essentially, could it also be that Mamta is gaining from her entire, because we did the survey across 20 states, you know, rural, urban, all sorts of things. Could it be that she's also benefiting from what she's done in Bengal, standing up to CPM, winning the battle in Shingur, winning the battle in Nandigram? The common people believe that she'll stand up for them.
You will be surprised. You will be surprised that her support right now is coming more from outside Bengal than just in Bengal.
That's right.
And more from the lower middle class and the rural section as well.
That's right.
So that is where Mamta is scoring. And if that's the area where UPA actually knows the votes are delivered,
Then that's why they're delivering.
yeah, that's what that means a lot.
All right, that's the big thing. We have to end at this point, I am afraid. But remember, through the next fortnight, Yashwant Deshmukh and me will bring you the big question. What does India think about the 100-day agenda? You can find it only on one place, UTVI. After all, the 100-day agenda is your business. It is my business. It is, of course, everybody's business. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.